What is going on, everybody? So in this video, I want to talk about something that gets discussed on my channel in the comments a lot and that I get a lot of pushback on. And I got a comment yesterday from someone basically saying that EBO1, the box price is largely affected by a lot of the cards inside being playable right now, and that once they reprint those cards, this set is going to tank. The booster box price is going to go down a lot. And that's probably just not going to be the case. I very much disagree with that person's line of reasoning, and I'm going to discuss why in this video. And I think one of the major issues that people have when it comes to looking at booster box values, especially in One Piece, is that it's not entirely based around the TCG. There is a very large collecting element to One Piece, and it's not on the level of Pokemon. So that's kind of the goal. That's where I think One Piece wants to get to eventually. And as investors, that is where we'd want to see One Piece get to, is just more people coming into the hobby, opening booster boxes and trying to chase the top cards like the Tony Chopper manga, like the other mangas in alternate arts, etc. So we're not at that level yet, which is fine. And I understand that in the set there are a lot of cards that are potentially playable. For example, like the Finger Pistol. This is a rare card that's worth $11.30. That is ridiculous. And a lot of these just regular super rares are worth a lot of money, like $11, $12, $18, $20, $35 for the Cavendish, the Brook, $25 as well. Kid Killer, $5 right now. This one's popped up recently. And I agree that these cards should be reprinted. I think it's ridiculous that a rare card, this Finger Pistol, just a regular rare, is over $11. Like, that is ridiculous. You should be reprinting these cards to make them cheaper for the players, give them access to them. I think that's fine. And they do that in Pokemon a lot too. So I think one example, and Pokemon does this fairly well actually. They like to make their cards that are playable as cheap as possible, give them reprints. And even if they don't reprint, right, there's normally multiple different rarities of the same card in a set. For example, Paradox Rift, last year, Iron Hands EX was a very playable card. Even just the regular EX was up to around $15. And that was when it was super meta. And this was the only way to get the card at the time. They have reprinted it in Prismatic Evolutions. But also, I think the card's just fallen out of the meta a little bit. But either way, this was a very expensive card. You had the full art, which was even more expensive. And then you had the special illustration rare, which was almost double the price of the regular EX. And you see the same thing in One Piece. You have the regular super rare for something like Cavendish, but you also have the alternate art, and that's fine. But the point I'm trying to get to is that even when a lot of these cards in this set that were super playable fell off in value, they lost a lot of their value. For example, if we go back here, this is a one-year chart. So May of last year, it was around $15 for a regular EX. If you get to around October, it was a $6 card. And this happened for a few cards in the set. Obviously, some cards did go up at the same time. But even though a lot of these cards lost their value and dropped out the meta, you can see if you go back to May of last year, Paradox Rift booster box were around $99. And then in October, they were around $106. So they actually went up during that time. And this is normal. And even in One Piece, guys, people are not opening a $400 booster box to try and pull the cards inside, right? I'm about 99% sure of that. I could be wrong. Like, if someone wants to do all the math and break it down and do multiple waves and try and figure out if you are actually making money opening this product, sure, go ahead and do the math, and I'd be open to be proven wrong. But I'm 99% sure, without even doing the math, that opening a $320 booster box, you're not going to get $320 in value back. The reality is, if players need these cards, they are buying them on the secondary market. And that's why, even if they reprint a lot of these super rares and very meta cards, it's not going to cause a crash in the booster box price. You might see a tiny pullback from it. If it were Pokemon and they reprinted the cards, you wouldn't see a pullback in the booster boxes at all. In One Piece, maybe we see a little bit of a pullback because maybe there are a couple people actually opening these boxes trying to pull the cards to play the TCG. The reality is, though, people buying this box for $300-$400 are doing so because they want to chase the top cards. They want a chance to open and break and try and grab the manga card, the Chopper, some of these alternate art cards like the Nami in here and some of the other ones, the Tony Chopper alt, the Shirahoshi alt. Like, a lot of these are very beautiful artworks. People are buying these to either break them and try and pull those cards, or they're holding them as an investment. They're holding because they see the value long term. Maybe they're a sealed collector as well and they just enjoy the artwork of the box. And that's largely, after a certain point, what drives these markets in collectibles. And people need to remember, One Piece since 2022 is the second most graded game at PSA. And that's not something to scoff at. Like, that is a fairly significant thing to point out. People enjoy grading these cards, and people don't even go to PSA. I know a lot of people also grade at Beckett. The black label for One Piece is very important because there's such a high gem rate. A lot of cards end up getting graded 10s. I think it's, for a lot of these manga cards, it's closer to like 85, 90%. Maybe even a couple of them are above 90%, which is insane. So the black label has a ton of value. You can go online, you can go look on eBay, and I almost thought about bringing it up. There are multiple sales weekly for cards over $5,000, $6,000. The Monkey D. Luffy from OPO 5 actually just sold. I had someone show me that a few eBay auctions are actually going up in price for this card. It is going up. And you can see on TCG Player, graphs around $2,400, but most recent sales, $3,000, one at 24 and one at 28, and then 29.50. So the last four sales, you're averaging closer to like $2,700, $2,800 USD, and that's basically been over the past month or so. So a lot of these cards are going up in value. Same thing with the Ichiro Oda stamped card. This is going up. I think like you're around $1,250 on the graph, but most recent sales, you're getting closer to that $1,350, $1,400. So I urge people that are maybe just a little less convinced about the investing side of the hobby, the sealed side, and just the economics of it. First of all, you can go through and do the math by pull rates and all of that and break it down by rarities and try and figure out how much value you're actually going to get from an average box of EBO1. But if you're too lazy to do that, really just do some research into the sales of the big end cards in each set. For example, the Tony Tony Chopper, and just try and get a better understanding of what chase cards are, what box breaks are, people actually enjoying opening product and chasing these high-end, very rare cards. Because at the end of the day, One Piece is not just about the TCG at this point. There is a large and growing collector element to the hobby, and having very rare manga cards in certain boxes is going to just hold the value of that box over time. And it's going to increase, especially as more boxes get ripped, as more people enter the hobby, as people value collecting those top tier chase cards. It only goes up, right? It's just simple supply and demand economics. But to make you guys that play the TCG feel better, I do agree. Like, it is insane that a rare card is worth $11.37. Like, that is just insane for something that's basically in every single pack. Same thing with these super rares that show up in one every 3 packs or so. That's basically the equivalent of an EX card in Pokemon. And these should be nowhere near 10, 15, 20. The Cavendish is $35. Like, that is ridiculous for a regular EX card. They definitely need to be reprinted, or Bandai needs to figure out a way to get more of those cards in circulation to bring the cost down on those cards for the players. But the alternate arts and stuff like that, those should be more expensive. If people want to bling out their decks, that's fine. But people are going to eventually value just the artwork in general, the rarity of the card, and want to collect those. So hopefully that makes sense. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think on this. If you actually have done the math and you know exactly how much you're supposed to get opening an EBO1 booster box on average, like if you open thousands and thousands of boxes, I know that's not realistic, but on average, how much you're supposed to get from a box, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear that number, but I do imagine it's going to be much less than this big number right here. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.